What's going on, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Showtime 804 checking back into it like we never left. Thanks to all of those who've liked and commented and subscribed. And remember to keep doing the same. Tell your friends and tell a friend and tell a friend so we can go ahead and push me out there. So, in typical 2020 fashion, Lane Johnson just been shut down for season-ending ankle surgery. We saw the writing on the wall, just the way he was playing on the last couple of weeks. He wasn't able to finish some games. Me personally, I think we were way too reactive in regards to what Lane was dealing with. The man had ankle surgery towards not too long before the season actually started, mid-August, towards the end of August. And he sat out the first game, and he tried to come back in the second game. You could just tell the way our offense looked as far as protection in general. He just wasn't healthy. He took some time off before the bye, and I think we should have sat him down. It wasn't worth having him play a game here and a game there when you're looking at the overall impact of what he can bring to this team. Now, Lane is going to be one of your high dollar guys, somewhat around between $18 to $20 million. And now, with this surgery, you always kind of hope for the best on surgery. There's not 100% chance that he'll ever be back to the same form that he was. And it just goes to the way the team, again, we're playing musical chairs with guys. Whereas we lost Dillard at the beginning in the offseason. And well, not in the offseason. We lost Dillard in training camp. So, that's the first chair that got moved because we needed a suitable replacement. After you just put Peters in at right guard. And remember, he wasn't named the right guard placement until later on in the summer. And so now he, made the gripes about moving to left tackle, where we should have just kept him plugged in at right guard. And, signed somebody like the Cordy Glenn, somebody that was available. And it looks like, we got the shepherd, the sheep running the herd, because as a football player, you're supposed to do what's asked of you by your coaches. And I get the business aspect, but, what is it that you're really doing? When Jason Peters came out and said, if they want me to play left tackle, they need to pay me more money. You're a football player. You need to be able to play anywhere where the coach tells you to play. So is he somebody that's not, taking the field on certain special teams downs because he feels he's that entitled to this? And like I said, we just to play musical chairs. We never have one guy that can back up multiple positions. We have one guy that specifically can play left guard, one guy that specifically plays right guard. When we lost Vaitai was our swing tackle. And we should have brought in someone who can do pretty much the same as he can do. I believe they were trying Mailata for that position, but once Mailata became a starter, what was your next move? And we depend on too much of these undrafted free agents and lesser talent to jump into starting roles when the time comes. And and I get that's the nature of the sport, is to try to have those guys in place. So shout out to Jeff Stoutland for even having some of these guys in position to be starting caliber players, because outside of Lane Johnson, Isaac Seumalo, Andre Dillard, the guys on the offensive line are lackluster talented, and I mean that to say with their drafting positions. Like I said, Seumalo was a third-round pick. Jason Kelce was a sixth-round pick. Matt Pryor was a fifth-round pick. Driscoll was a fourth-round pick. We're not developing the necessary resources into the offensive line as some of your other teams in the NFL. And as much as I hate to say this, that we need to take a page out of the Cowboys book, where they built their offensive line through the draft. They have a first-round pick, Tyron Smith. Connor Williams was a second-round pick. Travis Frederick at the time was a first-round pick. Zach Martin was a first-round pick. Lyle Collins would have been a first-round pick, but he had some legal issues. And that's that. But we need to allocate those resources to building up our offensive line. And this goes to Howie Roseman's inability to provide a solid team around us. Yeah, Howie developed a reputation that he's able to wheel and deal with drafts and get these contracts done that are mostly team friendly. But he's doing the team a disservice. You have $100 million quarterback. You need to protect this quarterback at all costs. Whether you get him a bona fide true number one receiver, not some of these gadget guys or who are one trick ponies who you're hoping they can stick to one position. And right now, what Howie Roseman is doing is similar to what the Colts did to Andrew Luck. They're going to wait too late to get him some help after his body's been through the ringer. And it's just sad, like, the way we go about with this offensive line. Now, Doug and Howie, they pretty much grew up under Andy Reid, and they believed in building up the trenches, making sure the trenches are solidified first. And just what we're doing, we're just stringing along older guys, hoping that they stick. So now we definitely need a suitable replacement for Brandon Brooks. Hopefully that's Nate Herbig. We're going to need a suitable replacement for Lane Johnson. And you can see it happening. And we don't need to just, start hoping that these undrafted free agents pan into something. We need surefire things. And that goes to the Andre Dillard situation. Yeah, we traded up to get Andre Dillard when you took Jordan Mailata back in the 2017 draft, I want to say. And it took him 3 years later. And that's not to say that's solely on him, because, like I said, Jeff Stoutland's done an amazing job with this guy, especially for someone who has no football experience whatsoever, to turn him and mold him into a starting caliber left tackle in the NFL. And we're just doing things the wrong way as far as taking care of our football team. Everyone knows that the offensive line is important, but yet we're spending hundreds of $millions on the defensive side of the ball for a coordinator who's running solely off of his own scheme, not, using the talent. We're paying all these high-name guys, but it's supposed to be his scheme that, flourishes. Like I said, we're just taking steps backwards. And like I said, it's simple 2020 fashion where we just don't have any answers in place. So, like I said, with Jason Kelce getting up there in age, what's the next step? I don't want to move Isaac Seumalo from left guard to center, because essentially you're having to redo two positions at that point. We just need to find a way to draft another center, draft his upcoming replacement. Jason Kelce is not going to play forever. And we waited too long to move on from Jason Peters. So Kelce is we're doing the same exact thing. Get these guys ready to go. And I mean, if you have to trade some of these undrafted talents, then trade them. We need the assets, because we're such in salary cap hell because we didn't run our team effectively. And that's more so on the general manager. But, hopefully Lane can get himself together and come back healthy for next year, because this year it's looking like it's going to be a wash. But, until week 17, the last game is played, I'm going to always support the team, and even that moving forward. So I don't want to tank any games just to throw the season away. But where we are now, it's just beyond frustrating, because I know fans like myself and others, we see what needs to be done, and yet we have a head coach and a general manager who are fighting amongst themselves, and is making the condition of the team worse. Because what free agent's going to want to come in here and fool around with this kind of nonsense? And that's all it is. It's just nonsense. People just aren't doing their jobs correctly. Where we drafted a quarterback when that could have been used for an interior lineman in the second round. And I'm not saying that you have to draft an interior lineman that high, but you just look at some of the first-round talent. We even had I don't say the first round talent, but talent that was on the team, they just left and went elsewhere. This to say that they either were not good or they weren't good enough. Stefan Wisniewski, he was, I believe, was a third round pick. He's bounced around the league since we last had him. Chance Warmack was a first round pick, playing for his old college coach. He couldn't get anything out of him. And is that due to him playing out of position or, what have you? But we have to get some things in order. Like I said in the previous video, somebody's got to go. And I don't think it's going to be both of them. I don't think both of them at the same time are going to go. But if you have to, then you have to, because it looks like it's a power struggle between Doug and Howie. And getting rid of one without the other shows that side won. And then that gives them a boost to their ego, which we don't need. We need to have some attitudes adjusted within this front office and just make the necessary moves. Man, this is hard being an Eagles fan in 2020 because it's like that Super Bowl just seems so far long ago that right now we are a dumpster fire in the NFL. We went from being at the top of the mountain, we were supposed to have been, in the playoffs. That was going to be the new norm, and now we got bickering amongst ourselves between the front office and the coaching staff. So, speed of recovery to Lane. Don't even try to bring Brandon Brooks back this year. Let him rest so he can come back next year. Oh, boy, that's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is, and as always, fly Eagles fly.